So in my last video, I mentioned that we took one of the twins to the equivalent of urgent care here, and that was Tuesday. Guess what? We went to the emergency room on Thursday evening, and one of the twins had minor surgery. So she's had this like boil on her, under her ear and like lower and behind, and it just got big and red, and then it finally came to like a head. And here we're so blessed at the school. We have a school nurse currently, and she came over and looked at it and was like, oh, like, let's, go into the doctor. And she was the main reason that we took her to urgent care in the first place. And then I sent the pictures of it to a doctor, and he's like, just go in to the emergency room and say, hey, I need this drained. And so I was like, okay. I thought it was gonna be, pretty simple, not a crazy process, that it would be, just quick and done. And it was quite the process. It took some time. So we went to the hospital that we had went to on Tuesday, went to the same hospital, ran into the same doctor that saw it on Tuesday, and I was like, hey, it looks a lot different now, it's got a head, can we just get it drained? And I'm still learning cultural things, and I think I'll be learning until the day I die, cultural things over here, or until we're done over here. They are really big at just putting people in the hospital, putting people on IVs, putting people on medication, whether they really need to be on it or not. That's the way that they handle things. And so, she's like, well, would you be willing to be admitted to the hospital? And I was like, can we try to drain, the spot first before we go into the hospital? Like, we don't even know, she's wanting to walk around and play and have fun, and I can't imagine, her sitting still and being hooked up to IVs and things. I was like, can we just try this? And so the doctor called the ENT specialist, ear, nose, and throat specialist, and explained the situation, and he, I guess, talked to somebody and explained what to do, and then he left. And the doctor that we had talked to before saw that he was leaving, and so she ran out the door and got the information, and was the one that ended up doing it, the procedure. But I really wish I could have videoed it, not the surgery, but just the process, because it's done differently here, but they don't allow you to video those things, and I don't know that I would have thought to video it in the moment. But so they're getting everything prepared, and they have to have all the paperwork prepared. You have to go and essentially put down a deposit before they'll do the surgery. And so they gave me the papers I needed. I had to go to this billing place, and they told me how much it would be, and then I had to walk over to this cashier and pay that amount, and then I had to go back to the billing and get a stamp showing that I paid it, and then I had to go and take it to the nurse so that they could show the doctor, hey, they have clearance to have this done. And so that was a process. Thankfully, the hospital we were at, it was all on one floor, so I just went back and forth and got it taken care of. Thankfully, originally I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna take the twin by myself and I'll be okay. I just have one of them, it'll be in and out, no big deal. It had to be a God thing that I thought, last minute, oh, the nurse, from school said if I ever needed to take one of the twins to the hospital or whatever, that she would be willing to go with me. So I called her and said, hey, here's what I'm doing. Would you be willing, or do you have time to go with? And she said yes. I'm so glad I had her go with me, because I can't imagine holding the twin, and running back and forth and just doing all this stuff. So she was holding, just to make it less confusing, we'll call her Baby B. She was holding Baby B and just was cuddling her and paying attention to her and keeping her happy while I was running back and forth. And we sat there for a good while. And so eventually, after waiting, they got us into the OR, and I didn't even think about it. Like, we all went in. The lady that came with me and Baby B was there, of course, and I was in there too, and just standing there. And my dad has gotten lightheaded before, and when my mom has had surgery, like afterwards and stuff, and I think when I've had surgery and things. So, you know, I'm just sitting there like, okay, I've never been in a room when somebody's having a procedure done. And so it was just kind of weird, but I didn't pass out. There was a couple of times where I was like, you know, I'm gonna back up, give them their space, and I was just constantly praying, and Lord, you take care of her, take care of things. It wasn't like surgery, but it was, they lanced it, so essentially like cutting it open and draining it, and they cut a couple of times and drained in a couple of different places. It was like 20-25 minutes. I thought it was gonna be like cut, drain, you're done, you know, really quick. And it wasn't. The doctor was super careful, super gentle. But I'll admit, like, I saw her hand shaking sometimes, and I was just like, oh, this is making me nervous. And here, I don't fully understand, you know, why they do certain things the way they do things. Here, they didn't give her, like, there wasn't any local anesthetic, there wasn't any numbing of the area beforehand. They just did the procedure. I think they, like, wiped it down and, like, sterilized it first, but Baby B was just amazing. She cried, and they held her, but, I mean, I was telling my students the story today, and I was like, guys, I can't even, like, I'm a grown adult, and I can't even imagine, like, I don't even like to go to the dentist and get a filling without, what do you call it, like, the silly gas or whatever, you know, the stuff you're inhaling, like, that just makes the process so much better and easier. And so I couldn't imagine, like, she was going through this without any of that, and just my heart went out to her, you know, the way that they were holding her down and everything. I couldn't really, like, have my hand on her or anything, but they like, covered her head, and then had the spot open where they were working on it, and so I would try to bend down and, you know, see her face and be like, oh, it's okay, baby, it's okay, and just, you know, trying to be there and reassure, and I was again so glad that the nurse was with me, because once it was all done, like, she just scooped her up and just held her, and the bandage and everything, it, like, covered her ear completely, and I mean, with the bandage and stuff, it kind of looks worse than it actually was, but it's just like, she's 15 months old, and she turned 15 months old yesterday, her and her sister, and so, like, can't even imagine, you know, having to go through something like that. Like, I've never had a boil, I've never had to deal with something like that, and these girls are just so tiny and so precious, and so yeah, we could have waited a little bit, I guess, to do the lancing, but my biggest thing was they were to see their parents today, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, like I could tell the people at the social work office, like, we've gotten this taken care of, things are working out. And so that's why we decided to take them into the emergency room last night and get it taken care of. They did not end up seeing their dad and mom. Their dad just got a job, so he was working, but they saw their mom, and they have 2 other siblings that are in foster care that they got to see as well. And so I was not there. We were told to drop them off, and then we went to the mall. I bought the girls new shoes, since they're really starting, well, they've been walking. I figured it was good to get them actually like hard sole shoes, so hopefully they will like wearing them. We don't wear shoes in the house, so they're not really used to wearing shoes. But yeah, I got the girls some new shoes and a couple of dresses today, and so hopefully they'll enjoy those, and that'll be something cute to have. But yeah, and I was nervous about today and everything, but it was really like, we literally just went there and they're like, okay, bye. Like, the social worker said, you know, bye, and we went away, and half hour later I guess I got a text, and I didn't see the text, and then she called me and she's like, okay, we're done, you can come pick him up. So we came and picked him up, and that was it. And our helper did she stayed, so she got to meet the mom and saw her she has a little baby that's younger than the twins. And so yeah, it's been a lot in the last 2 days. And last night Dan and I did not sleep well. There's just, we've just been sick and going through things, and then Dan rolled his ankle at basketball on Wednesday, and so he's in pain, and Thomas has been sick, and then this stuff going on with baby B, and we were originally told, you know, certain things with foster care that hasn't happened, and so it's just been a lot. And I feel for Dan because we live in a Bible-believing household, and we're followers of Christ. We believe that He's our Lord and Savior, and part of what the Bible talks about is Dan's the head of the household. He's the lead, and there's just been some really tough stuff that we've went through, and I think he just really feels the pressure and the weight of it, and I feel for him. And so we're trying to love, you know, orphans and widows, and just love people like the Bible tells us to, but it's hard. I'm so thankful for the lady that went with us last night, because afterwards she's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, I never cried, I never broke down, and I don't know if I do know, I believe that, you know, that's the Lord's grace. It just got me through it, but and then we just didn't sleep well last night. Baby B slept well, baby H slept well, Thomas slept well, so that was good. But yeah, it's a lot, and they're not our kids, and so we're responsible for Thomas, which is our own child, and then we're responsible for these other girls, and it's just, you feel the weight of it, you feel the responsibility, and there's so many in this world that need that love, and we're just trying to do our part, but it can be really hard and challenging at times. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it at that. We had minor surgery, and but hopefully we've gotten things taken care of. The girls did see their mom today, and saw their little sister and their other siblings, and so yeah. But I'm glad that it's Friday. I'm glad that it's evening. I'm glad that we have the weekend to hopefully rest and be ready for the next week. So that's it for today. We'll talk to you later. Bye. God bless.